Title: The Hollow Echo of the Forgotten Alley. The Alley of Silence was an open wound in the heart of the dead city. A stony void where time, like a stagnant river, seemed to refuse to flow. The lampposts, metal skeletons covered in rust, spat out yellowish flickers that died before touching the ground, leaving the place plunged into a viscous twilight. Nothing could be heard. Not the wind, nor the distant murmur of cars, nor the echo of the life that once vibrated between those walls now covered in moss and faded graffiti. Only silence. A dense, oppressive silence that weighed on your shoulders like a tombstone. My name is Marcos, and I came to the alley by mistake, or perhaps, by a dark predestination that I still do not understand. I was running from something, or rather, someone. A murky past that clung to my heels like an implacable shadow. In my desperation, I ventured into the dark mouth of the alley, seeking refuge in its anonymity. Fatal mistake. Within a few meters, the feeling of unreality hit me hard. The air became heavier, almost tangible. Each step resonated with a strange amplification, as if the alley itself were breathing. Then I heard it. Lost? The voice whispered from the shadows. It was a soft, almost childish voice, but with an echo of despair that chilled the blood. I couldn't locate its origin. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I stopped dead in my tracks, my heart beating furiously against my ribs. The darkness played tricks on my eyes, turning shapes into lurking monsters. I swallowed with difficulty and replied, my voice trembling. Who's there? Silence fell again, denser and more menacing than before. I thought I had imagined the voice, a product of my paranoia and exhaustion. I was about to turn around and return to the street when the voice spoke again. You shouldn't be here. This time, the tone was different. There was no more softness, only a growing, almost hysterical urgency. This place is cursed. Leave while you can. Fear paralyzed me. My feet refused to move. The voice, now clearly masculine, resonated with an intensity that made my bones vibrate. I looked around, trying to identify the source of the sound, but I only saw dancing shadows and walls covered in grime. Who are you? What do you want? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The answer was laughter. A dry, guttural laugh that seemed to come from the bowels of the earth. I want you to leave. To leave this place in peace. You don't understand the danger you're in. I felt a chill run down my spine. The laughter faded, leaving behind a sepulchral silence. The lampposts, as if obeying an invisible order, began to flicker erratically, projecting grotesque shadows that danced around me. Instinctively, I knew I had to obey. I turned around and started running, my breath catching and my heart about to explode. I stumbled several times, but I got up and kept running, driven by visceral terror. Leave. Never come back. This place will consume you. The voice followed me, like a rabid dog chasing its prey. I reached the end of the alley, breathless. I collapsed against the wall, panting and trembling. I looked back, expecting to see a menacing figure emerging from the darkness, but I only saw the alley, silent and dark as a wolf's mouth. I staggered away, feeling the invisible gaze fixed on my back. I didn't sleep for days. The voice resonated in my head, tormenting me with its warnings. I began to investigate the history of the alley, seeking an explanation for what I had witnessed. I discovered that the Alley of Silence had been the scene of countless tragedies. Murders, suicides, inexplicable disappearances. Legend had it that the place was impregnated with the energy of the tormented souls who had lost their lives there. It was said that a dark entity, fueled by suffering, inhabited the alley, trapping those unfortunate enough to venture into its territory. But the most disturbing thing was the discovery of a particular murder. Many years ago, a little boy had been brutally murdered in the alley. His body was never found. Some said that his spirit still roamed the place, trapped in an eternal cycle of pain and despair. The voice I heard. The childish voice that had warned me. Could it be that of the lost boy? I decided to return to the alley. I didn't know why, but I felt I had to. Perhaps to offer the child the peace he so longed for. Or perhaps, simply, to face my own fears. This time, I went prepared. I carried with me a powerful flashlight and a crucifix that my grandmother had given me. I ventured into the alley, feeling the weight of the oppressive atmosphere on my shoulders. Hello? I said, my voice trembling. I'm here to help you. Silence answered me. A silence even deeper and more terrifying than the first time. I walked slowly, illuminating every corner with the flashlight. There was nothing. Just shadows and walls covered in graffiti. Suddenly, the flashlight went out. I was left in the dark, my heart racing. Then I heard it. Why have you returned? The voice whispered from the darkness. It was the boy's voice, but this time, it was different. It was full of hatred and resentment. "I want to help you," I replied, my voice barely audible. "I want you to rest in peace." "Peace? I don't deserve peace. I deserve revenge," the voice shouted, with terrifying fury. I felt a blow. A sharp pain in my chest. I looked down and saw a dark shadow rising in front of me, and a bony hand clutching a bloody knife. I fell to the ground, feeling life escape from my body. The shadow leaned over me, its eyes bloodshot. "Now you will stay here with me. Forever," the shadow whispered, with a macabre smile. And then, I understood. The child did not want peace. He wanted company. He wanted revenge. He wanted to drag others into his own hell. The Alley of Silence claimed a new victim. Now, my voice will join the hollow echo of the lost souls, trapped forever in the darkness. And we will wait. We will wait for the next unfortunate soul who dares to venture into our territory. And we will whisper in their ear, "Lost?